I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. It's the 20-something of July. I think it's the 26th or something like that, 27th, whatever. Anyway, in 2024, just anyway. So what is happening in the market? Well, at the moment, quite a lot actually. Today is the 27th of July, 26th of July. Excuse me. The thing. Turns out there's something like $10 billion of options expiring today for Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's something that I think is around it's like 4.5 billion of Bitcoin and 5.5 billion of Ethereum. The decimals may not be quite right, but something like that. Yeah, I think it's like 4.6 and 5.4 or whatever, respectively, of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And today's their options expiry date for July. So what tends to happen? Well, right, people tend to close their positions, obviously. And, there's a lot of news about, it's about 25% of the options are in the money. So it's great for people who are, long, essentially, on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, 25% in the money means 75% aren't. But yeah, there's a lot of, excitement in the news and the peanut gallery about people who chatter about options. Well, what do we care about it? Alpha trading, we look at the VEPs. What does the VEPs say? Well, the VEPs shows that basically the volatility on the day is, it's looking up, but it's also a bit of a mixed bag. So is variance. And there is certainly reason to think that it may continue to go to the upside overall in the day, or that it may reach up on the day before coming back down a bit. The reason I say that also is because if you look at like the 4-hour time frame, right, there's a mean reversion still happening to the 30-12 RMLR. Currently the price last I looked was around 67K and change, and the RMLR that it has to mean revert to, or that it's mean reverting to, is around 67.9, something like that. So it could easily mean revert up to there at some point today on the 4-hour time frame. And well, if it doesn't, it could do it at some point later. It could even, if it reaches it later in the day, it might have to reach up to around 69K to make that happen. But if that does happen, well, then yay. Obviously, the options traders will be expiring later in the day. But usually we see, since the options expiry, this is generally earlier in the day on the trading day. It's likely to happen that we'll see a move up before then, if there's going to be a move up at all, further than it's already gone today, which it already has more than 1% on Bitcoin, for example. And we could easily see some people taking profits, because that's typically what happens, right? When you close your position, you're in the green, you're taking your profits. And another interesting thing that's happening in the market is BlackRock saying, and this is not VEPs information, this is not trading information, this is just interesting news from the noisemakers. BlackRock, which owns a significant chunk of the market, right? They own they manage like $10 trillion in funds. They have positions in almost 5,000 different assets. So they have a significant position in the market, obviously. And they're saying that they're not they're not seeing any interest in, other altcoins like Solana or anything else, which is really not a surprise because people have yet to get adjusted overall in the market. They just barely got adjusted to Bitcoin ETFs, and all of a sudden they have Ethereum ETFs, and let's see how that works out for them. Adding more to the available menu is not necessarily going to be helpful. It might just confuse people, and they don't want to do that. So they're looking at basically not creating any more ETFs for the time being. Certainly not this year, and probably not next year, but we'll see. It certainly could be that in the future, maybe even next year, but probably not. Or at the moment it looks like probably not, but maybe in the future they'll create more ETFs for different altcoins. But for now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are their main ETFs that they want to go with, that they have, and that they're able to sell to clients who are interested in this stuff. And that makes sense. And again, price predictions, if you will. Price predictions. It's really not about price predictions, right? It's about volatility targets and entropy targets and standard deviation targets and Laplace distribution targets. But so the upside, we easily could see the price range today, all the way up to the 69K area, maybe even higher if it does a crazy outlier. But I would not be surprised to see it cap off around 68K and then maybe even come back down a little bit by the end of the day, somewhere in that area. I know there's a lot of excitement about, there's a big, the big impulse is coming. Okay, those are all silly patterns. Don't trade patterns, just trade the VEPs. That's the most consistently profitable way to trade. And to the downside, of course, if it does fall below where it currently is, it could easily revisit the standard deviation and Laplace distribution targets to the downside in the 66, 65, and 64K area. Like, that's not out of the question at all. That certainly could happen. But anyway, thought I'd mention those things to you, and hope you have a happy day trading. Cheers.